This time in the Quick Speed Shop, I'm doing a walk around and talk on my 1937 Buick Century Coupe street rod. This is a 1937 Buick Century Coupe. My dad bought this car in original condition out of a barn in 1983. It was pretty rusty, and from probably 1985, 86-ish up to 2001, he built it into the street rod you see here. He completely built the whole thing in a home garage. The only things that were farmed out were the paint job, the interior, and the engine assembly, or the engine machine work, I should say. But here it is, a 1937 Buick Coupe street rod that my dad built. And the first thing that stands out about this car is the paint job. It's a national chrome yellow, or it might be easily recognizable as school bus yellow. My dad picked this color, and the whole car is painted this color, including the Chevy rally wheels. And it easily shows dirt, which I've got to clean it up a little bit, and it's very attractive to the bugs right now in the fall. I got ladybugs and bees that are buzzing all around this thing. They think it's some kind of big bright yellow flower, but it's a very interesting color. You don't see often on cars. You know, usually just see it on school buses, and it really sticks out in the crowd, and you can see it a mile away coming down the road. This car sits so low because it's been subframed with a 1975 Firebird subframe. The subframe is on the Camaro and Firebird, the front frame section of the car, and also Novas of that generation, like 70 to 81-ish Firebirds and Camaros. Actually 67 up to 81 Camaros, Firebirds, and then Novas as well. The front frame stub bolted to the unibody part of the car. And this car is full frame, so what you do is you unbolt the subframe out of a Camaro or a Firebird, and you cut off the original front frame rails of this car, and you graft that front frame section on, which gives you independent front suspension, disc brakes, and power steering and all that. So this car has been clipped with a 1975 Firebird subframe. My dad did it in the garage. He narrowed it 2 inches in the center to get the right track width here. It's got a power steering, GM power steering Saginaw box, and it handles very good, steers very good, and stops well. It's got a it's got a full-size Chevy master cylinder under the floor, and it's got a 10-bolt posi rear end in the back, so it's got good brakes. This car weighs probably, say almost 4,000 pounds, and the brakes work good to stop it. Let's take a look under the hood. Alright, under the hood here, can you see it? There we go. Under the hood here, we've got a 1974 Chevy 400 cubic inch small block. It's been bored 30 over. It's got a Chevy Ram horn exhaust manifolds. It's got a Performer EPS intake manifold. It has a roller cam in it, and I'm not sure the specs because my dad put it in after he built it. I've got a custom aluminum radiator with electric fan, Edelbrock 600 series carburetor, and I think it's a little lean for the horsepower of this engine, so I'm going to be upsizing to a 750 vacuum secondary Holley carburetor on this here soon. You see the piston Ford decal my dad put on there with Calvin. I'm a Ford guy, but since my dad built this car and he's passed away 3 years ago, I'm not going to take the sticker off because that's how he built it. But the engine's dressed up nice. It's painted a gunmetal gray to match the chassis of this car. Is painted gunmetal gray, but it's impossible to see because the car is so low to the ground. But it's got about 28,000 miles on it. It runs real strong, no issues. This is a great cruising car. It's got lots of power. It gets about 12 miles a gallon. It's got full 2-inch exhaust oil out the back with turbo mufflers. It sounds healthy. It runs good. It pulls strong. It's got a turbo 350 transmission with a shift kit, and it shifts real tight and strong, and it's run flawlessly all these years in this car. Up front here, this is the original sheet metal on the car. It's got the original grille with the Buick 8 insignia. Originally, his cars had a straight 8 engine. This is a Century model, so it had a bigger one. I think it was 320 cubic inch straight 6. My dad sold that engine, and it's in a car in Ohio. But all the sheet metal is original. It does have aftermarket headlight rings on here, and it's got Mopar marker lights up on top from a 60s Mopar. My dad punched these 3-inch louvers in the hood with our louver press, and currently runs without hood sides. I have the hood sides for it, but he never painted them, so they need to be painted to go with the car. The rear of the car is nice shape. My dad Frenched in 39 Ford teardrop taillights into the stock fenders. We've got a gas filler door here off of, I believe it's off of a Volkswagen Carmagia. I remember he cut it off of some Volkswagen in the junkyard about 25 years ago and he grafted it in here. Shaved the rear bumper, built a custom rear panel, the license plate here. Custom, I think it's about 18-gallon gas tank that he built underneath. We've got a Dodge Omni third brake light that was kind of in style back in the day. Now it's a little bit out of style now, but at least you can see when the car is stopping, because these 39 brake lights are pretty tiny. And overall the car's held up real good. Got a couple of bubbles in the deck lid here, but this car was painted about 18 years ago, and the paint is in still very excellent shape. It's been a road trip in cars. Car's been to Vermont, York, Pennsylvania, Columbus, Ohio. It's got about 28,000 miles on it here, and it's never let me down. I can get in and drive it wherever I want, and it always rides good, handles good, and been very, very reliable, and a nice handling cruising car as well. Here in the exterior, I've got the stock stainless steel trim, shaved the door handles. It's got poppers, electric poppers, solenoids to open the doors. Here on the interior, it was done in 1995. It's a little dated now because it's a light color tweed, but it's got some leather accents. But it's very in style at the time that the car was built, in the late 80s to early 90s. We got custom original dashboard customized with some video gauges. It's got a stereo in it, a GM tilt column out of the same 74 estate wagon that the engine came out of. Got a factory GM wheel with a Buick emblem put on it. These are like 84, 85 Lincoln bucket seats that have power. They're 6-way power mid-size Lincoln bucket seats, and there's a small seat in the back. Very comfortable to sit in. Lots of room here. This was a big car back in the day, and it's a very comfortable car to cruise in. And very little wind noise, very nice stereo system, and everything's very comfortable. It makes a perfect cruising car. This is the ultimate cruising machine because the wheelbase is so long and the car is so heavy. It's a great highway cruiser. This car is in excellent shape overall for being finished about 18 years ago. It was pretty much done in 2001 time frame, and it's been on the road ever since then. Fortunately, my dad passed away about 3 years ago, so I've had the car since then, and done a few things. I put a battery in it, an alternator, and a master cylinder was leaking it, so I've kept it up mechanically, and I drive it on Saturdays. I put about 1,000 miles on it so far this year, and took it to the Syracuse Nationals car show, and it's always been a great cruising car for going to distant shows and just getting in and running down the road. So speaking of running down the road, let's take it out. We'll drive. You can see how it handles and what it sounds like going down the road. So that's it, just a walk around and description of my 1937 Buick Century Street Rod Coupe here. My dad did an excellent job building this car, and I can think about it every time I'm cruising down the road in it. And I'm glad that I've had the opportunity to hang on to it, and I'll have it for years to come and get some good enjoyment out of it. So thanks for watching. Please subscribe. I'm putting out new videos every Wednesday and Saturday. Hit the bell for alerts, tell your friends, and as always, we'll see you right back here at the Quick Speed Shop for more street rod tours, walk-arounds, hot rod builds, and whatever else I got going on in the shop.